When you think of hero names, usually hero names are a perfect representation of a character. Let's think about Superman, Batman, Archer. Let's think about Green Lantern. A variety of different characters. Names that usually represent what they are or things about them, aspects about them. That is something that makes a hero. When you think of a hero, sometimes many think about their name. Not just their actions, but their name and the meaning behind it. And this episode displays that, of how heroes, or upcoming heroes, what names they would choose and for what purpose. Because names have a lot of meaning in society. They do. At the end of the day, regardless of what it is, a name does hold a lot of weight. It's in a way of branding. It's kind of like a company, okay? Let's think about, Pepsi or Coca-Cola, okay? Pepsi and Coca-Cola, their name is a brand, and their name holds a lot of weight in the soda industry. And so, when you look at it like that, it's very important, and it's something that many recognize and know. It's a name, even if you haven't drunk the soda or know the contents inside of it, you know the name. And that's how a hero could be represented. It's like a brand name. It's something that is them and will stick with them until the day they die and even after that. Because names can carry on throughout history. That's just how it is. I mean, think about famous people in history, okay? Like King Arthur for a second. Basically, that's how this is. That's how names are, and that's how important they are. And so this was a very important episode for our characters, because these names they choose represent them and what they inspire to be. Because this is something they're probably going to be stuck with for a good long while until the day they die. And so, with these characters choosing something, it needs to stick, it needs to be something good, it's something that many understand and will recognize. Like, for instance, Kirishima making his name Red Riot. That is a very meaningful name, because it shows what makes him a hero, what makes him him in the first place. We've always known for a while that he kind of respects, this hero, and he wants to be like this hero he truly respects. It's very similar to how Izuku looks up to All Might, and how Bakugo looks up to All Might, how, Ida, he looks up to his brother. All of these characters, they have their own stories. They have their own characters they view and they idolize. So, I mean, a lot of people in the classroom, just this one classroom, our cast, they have people they look up to, and that will determine what they want to be. They inspired them. And so, with something like choosing a name that's very similar to the hero you respect, it holds a lot of weight. It's kind of like Kirishima choosing the name Red Riot, which is a reference, obviously, to his favorite hero. It's like him saying, I want to be as great as him. I want to be just like him. I want to be as great as him, and I want people to recognize me of how he was recognized. And obviously, when you choose a name very similar to someone you respect, that's going to come with a lot of pressure, because many are going to look at you with that name and think, do you hold up to the original? Do you hold up to the person you respect? That's the thing. Let's look at Izuku for a second, okay, as an example, a prime example. If Izuku was to choose All Might Jr., okay, since he loves All Might so much, All Might is his idol, if he was to choose All Might Jr., that would have a lot of pressure applied to it. Number one, many would look at him like, wait a minute, you're trying to be All Might Jr., but you're nowhere near the top of heroes, because All Might's number one. So, if you're going to be All Might Jr., you're going to have a lot of weight, because many are going to look at you like you need to be the number one hero then, because if you're going to be All Might Jr., you have to be that strong. And when you look at, Izuku's quirk, it's similar to All Might. Like, many would look at it as, it's very similar to All Might, and we know it's All Might's quirk, but many would look at it it's not as powerful as All Might. And he also hurts himself in the process. So, many would look at it like, that's a shitty name to have. You don't deserve that name. And Izuku himself, he realized that he cannot perfectly represent and uphold that name in his state that he's at right now. Even though he respects All Might, he's a mega fan of All Might, he loves All Might, he has All Might's quirk, he knows he doesn't hold up to what All Might is. Even All Might that's already weakened and has a time limit on his form, he still does not hold a candle to All Might at all. And he's very aware of this, and he's became even more aware of this thanks to now having All Might's quirk ability and knowing more about it. So because of all of that, you you know for a fact that Izuku understands that pressure, and he doesn't deserve to choose a name like All Might Jr., because he wants to work up to the point to where he actually can do a name similar to All Might. So he instead chooses Deku. He chooses something that was at one point or time an insult, but it is now something that has a lot more weight to it and meaning, and a very good meaning to it as well. And I really like that exchange when Bakugo looks at Izuku. He's like looking at him with an angry face, and you could probably see that Bakugo is a little bit upset with that, because when he made that name for Izuku, he made that as an insult. He made that to insult Izuku. But with Izuku now choosing that name as his hero name and then saying it has a better meaning to it, it's kind of like he's spitting in Bakugo's face, and Bakugo's like, fuck this kid. Like, fuck Izuku. Like, he's straight up doing this crusty shit to me. That's kind of like what Bakugo's kind of thinking. So it just shows how much Izuku has developed as well, and how he's moved past that name that once was a negative thing, and now is a positive thing. He's now looking at it in the positive light, and that's why he chose that name in the first place. So it's a very meaningful name he chose for himself, Deku. And I think many can agree that's a great hero name to have, at the very least for now, until he finally increases his potential and changes his name to something else. Maybe more of a reference to All Might. Anyways, though, getting back onto Kirishima. So Kirishima, just like Izuku and how he feels about his name, he felt the exact same thing, but he went through with it. He was very sincere, and he went through with it. He chose his name, Red Riot. And because of the name he chose, it means that he's going to have a hell of a lot more pressure than Izuku has right now. Yes, Izuku has a lot of pressure because he has All Might's quirk. He has that potential, but he doesn't have the name. Because like I said, even if he knows, people don't. And so, it's like a brand name. That name holds a lot of weight. People are going to look at you like you better be just as good or very similar to them. And so, because of Kirishima doing that and being very sincere about it, just shows what type of person he is and how he will continue to grow as a hero. And he has much to learn, but he's still a really good person. So, I like that. A really nice way to give some characterization to him in the early stages of this series. Now, moving over to Todoroki. Todoroki really doesn't know what he wants either, because this man, he throughout his entire life, he's kind of been raised to be like someone that could surpass All Might. He's had his own personal issues with his father, Endeavor, and so he probably hasn't had a lot of time to really think about what name he really wants. And so with him just putting his name like that, it's kind of like saying he just hasn't put a lot of thought into it. He needs time to really consider what he wants, which shows a level of maturity. It does, because he realizes that he doesn't just want to go out of his way and just write a random name. He wants to put some thought into it and make it actually something that can stick and be really good for him. So when he finally does get his hero name, it'll represent probably a lot of character development he has received over the many chapters or episodes actually, when you guys see it in the anime. So I'm looking forward to that. I really am, and I like how, Todoroki handled that. Now, moving over into Ida. Now, Ida as a character, he's one of the big characters in recent episodes that have been getting a lot of focus. He's very important in this arc, even as I said in my last, review, my episode review. He's very important, and there's a lot of character development and characterization he has been getting. As we all know, he looks up to his brother, and we get an update on his brother in this episode. And we find out that his brother, he's in a state to where he can never be a hero again. And as I said, there's more to the name Hero Killer than actually killing someone. Killing a hero doesn't necessarily mean killing them. It could mean just destroying their career, destroying them as a person, destroying their will or spirit. And with Stain doing what he did, going out of his way and attacking Ida's brother and just putting him in the hospital like that and destroying his legs, it makes it to where he can no longer be a hero. So it's like he killed the hero. He killed that hero, killed his role, what he was meant to do in life. So Stain's still upholding his name. He is a hero killer. Even if he didn't kill him, like I said, there's more meaning to killing than just killing a person. You can just kill their way of life, and that's what he did. That is exactly what Stain did. And so, there you go. Many of you that were wondering if Stain, even though he's called the hero killer, why did he survive? There you go. I think everybody will be like, holy fuck, after this episode when it comes to Stain's character. So, basically, Ida's symbol is dead. That's what that scene represents. Ida's symbol, his motive to become a hero, is dead. His brother's alive, yes, but his motive to be a hero, someone he looked up to, is gone. Not there anymore. And his brother obviously is very upset about this too. Like Ida's brother, you could see he has a lot of depression in his face and how he acts and all that. He realizes it's over for him. And you could just see that the way he talks to his brother. And Ida realizes this too. And you could just see it's like his hope is gone now. Like what he wanted is gone. He can never be with his brother and take on missions to go take down villains. He can never do that with his brother because now his brother has been hurt beyond repair. So that right there shows what type of person Stain is and what he is trying to put out there and what his message is. So really awesome villain. Like I said, Stain is like my favorite fucking villain in this series, and you will find out very soon. Not just because of this scene. Like, this is a great scene, but there's more to it than that. And I feel like all of you anime only is going to be like, holy shit, like when you see it. It's going to be crazy. Just look forward to it. It's going to be epic. But, talking more about Ida, though, there's a lot of setup in this episode for Ida. Number one, it's obvious that he's going to this one agency because it's where his brother was attacked, where Stain attacked his brother. So, basically, Ida has anger inside of him. He wants to get probably vengeance, so to say, for his brother, for him to be going to the area to where his brother was hurt. He might want to be finding Stain to bring him in. So that's what that part of the episode is trying to set up, showing that Ida, he's at the part to where he's wanting to get back at the person that caused his brother harm and took down his symbol. That's what he's trying to do. Now, moving off of that, I will get into the narration in a second. Let's talk about Bakugo. So Bakugo, his scene in this episode is more for comedic relief than anything else, honestly, because it was kind of a dark episode. It was. I mean, there was a lot of great scenes, but there was some darkness in this episode, and Bakugo was kind of trying to uplift that feeling. And him trying to say, Lord Explosion Murder... That shit's great. Like, oh my god, like, that shit's fucking great. Not as good as the manga, though. Now, hear me out. Now, the scene in the anime is great, okay? It's great. What I'm getting at, though, is in the manga, when it was translated, I think it was fan translations, the fan translation, it had it to where Bakugo said, Lord Explodo Kills? I think that's what the name was. Like, Lord Explodo Kills. I feel like that name was much better than Lord Explosion Murder, but it's still the same message there. It's very funny, and just Bakugo's name sounds more like a villain name than anything else, so, like, it's fucking hilarious. So, just good stuff there. Anyways, though, getting into the big stuff of this, we found out that, basically All Might's old teacher is now asking to bring in Izuku. And his name is Gran Torino. Now, Gran Torino is an old dude. If you watched after the ending song of this episode, like the credits, you'll see him. You'll get to see a glimpse of him. Gran Torino, he pops up and all of that, and he wants to help out Izuku for whatever reason. And All Might, someone that is number one hero, the pinnacle of heroes, this man is scared. He's scared of Gran Torino for whatever reason. So, anime onlys, look forward to that. Look forward to Gran Torino in the upcoming, episodes. It's gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be fun. But, yeah, so we have something to look forward to when it comes to that. So, let's move into the narration. So, the narration of this episode reminds all anime onlys, and even manga readers, that this is in the past. And let me just do some clarification. If you remember, the series opened up with narration. And the first chapter ended with narration. There was other scenes throughout the series, important scenes, that ended with narration. If you don't understand, the series is being narrated by Izuku. He is the narrator of this story. So what we're seeing here, all of these scenes throughout this series, this is something that's in the past. It's like a big long-ass flashback arc, so to say. And Izuku is narrating this story for whatever's going on in the future. So, we don't know exactly why he's narrating this. He could be just writing in the diary, looking back at, what he did to become, like, the number one hero. But for whatever reason, this is him narrating this story and thinking back on everything. And it reminds us all of that Izuku is narrating Boku no Hero Academia. And this is all set in the past. But also, what he says about Ida is very ominous. Something very eerie that will get everybody thinking, like, what the fuck is gonna happen? So let's discuss it. So basically, Izuku, after Ida walks off, and he's going to the place where his brother was attacked, as I've already said, it's obvious that Ida has something going on in his mind where he wants to get vengeance. He wants to go after Stain. And Izuku, he even states in, like, supposedly his narration, he's like, at the time, I wasn't aware of what Ida was doing. I was unaware of why he was doing this or whatever, or what was going through his mind. But he's like, now I do, and I wish I would have been able to stop him or, change things. Like, he regretted a lot that happened that day. And so, Izuku's saying whatever's about to happen, he truly regrets. And that is something very scary. So whatever it is, it's something that holds a lot of weight to that present day in the future. It's something that, Izuku is still thinking about that far off into the future, something that's that crazy. So whatever's about to happen, it really made Izuku regret a lot of things. So it's not looking too good for Ida. Something bad is probably going to happen. So also anime onlys look forward to that as well. So yeah, but anyways, that's about it when it comes to this episode of Boku no Hero Academia. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love y'all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.